Alright, this is Mrs. Rutan doing my third take of this video, so hopefully I get it right. Today is a research day. So what I want to do is I'm trying to make a quick video to show you how I think you need to research and what I think you need to do to be productive. Today's research is going to be focused on the things they carried and the military topics and service project ideas. I introduced this yesterday, and basically you guys are going to be doing community service project, hypothetical but realistic, and you're going to present it to a panel. You're going to be working in a collaborative group of a couple of different people, and you're going to be presenting this to a group of military servicemen and women. With that in mind, I want you to start thinking of ideas now. I know we haven't even started the book, but I want you to think about a realistic community service project that is related to military somehow. So today, you're going to do a couple forms of research. And what I want you to do is read through this handout more on your own. I'm just going to highlight some of the key information pieces, and then I'm going to show you guys some modeling of how I research. So today is about free, productive research on two concepts. And right now, because we're so early in the game, these two topics may not be connected. And that's okay if they're not connected. I'm not asking you to come up with your idea right now. I'm asking you to look at what is currently out there. And the first thing I want you to think about is what military topics interest you. Or you could go more on the negative end, which is what military social issues and concerns interest you. These two things are different, and I'll explain it in a minute. The second thing I want you to research is just community service projects in general. They do not have to be military based, but there's a lot of community service that happens out there. I just don't think we're as aware of it, especially with things like media bias and all the drama in the world. We don't often look at the service projects. So I want you to research these two things. The rest of this handout tells you what to do and how to do it. So I'd like to jump into some modeling of how I want you to research. So after you read this handout, there are 3 things you have to do, and you'll make a copy of this. You will work on this digitally, and you will submit it on Google Classrooms digitally. So you won't have any hard copy of paperwork today. Everything is going to be on your screen. So after you read that little first page and watch this video, you're going to do a reaction and reflection. This is a classic annotation. You always do this for me. So I want to see that you have absorbed and understand what I'm asking you to do. The next thing is I want you to come up with a couple goals of what you want to find out in research, and hopefully my modeling will give you guys some examples. So you're going to be filling out this chart. This is kind of the biggest and most point-oriented part of this whole idea, and you have 80 minutes to do this. So I really want to see quality with this topic and quality with this topic. So here are my tips. When you research, you're going to do military. And I have it as topics because there's a couple things. I've been doing this for years. This is probably my 6th or 7th year teaching this project. And there are some things that pop up, which are easy and obvious research topics with military. And the #1 favorite for students is post-traumatic stress disorder. And I will tell you, I don't like this topic. #1, because it's been overdone multiple times by multiple students. And #2, I don't get good vibes when you present this to the military veterans on our panel. And the reality is, it's not that they don't believe in post-traumatic stress or they're denying it. It's just, it's very negative, and it's the first thing everybody talks about. And so the new thing that I've realized over the years, especially talking to those real-life military people, is I think you guys should be looking up topics that are positive. They might be more informative, they might be more happy, because think about it, the panel is going to want happy information. So why don't you take on that research perspective? So for instance, this is very informative. I'm curious about the National Guard. So my cousin's in National Guard. I know it's a domestic group. I know it's one of the 5 branches, but I'm curious to learn more about it because I just don't know a lot, and that can be very positive. Military at Christmas time is a festive, positive topic, but I'm curious what traditions are out there. The next thing to think about is if you want to do social issues, you can. I'm not saying you can't, but try to do something more unique and creative. So a couple things in the past I've seen is traumatic brain injuries, or TBI. That's actually a very interesting and emerging social issue. The tuition and how much college gets paid for when you are military has been an ongoing issue. Pensions is definitely something out there. Families and what families go through. Those are all kind of some interesting topics that are a little bit different than the classic PTSD. The other thing is, think about your point of view. What branch do you want to do? Do you want to do the soldiers? Do you want to do families? So here's some examples of things I wanted to research, and you can look at that on your own time. So when you do that research, what you're going to do is you got to be careful how you Google it, because depending on how you Google it, you could get a whole bunch of ideas. But I'm going to research Michigan National Guard. If I can spell. Alright, so when I research this, I got some recruitment stuff. I'm going to try this. And I'm going to read through. If I like the source, what I'm going to do, and obviously I'm not doing it right now, but I need to critically read the source. And if I like it, I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to go to my document. I'm going to find my portion. And then I'm going to paste the link in here. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a reflection on it. I've already done this for one source up here. So I and you notice it's more than a sentence, but it's not really quite a paragraph. It's a little bit more of a developed annotation. And I just talk about the resource and what I like about it and what I learned. So that is military topics. Jumping back, you're doing this 5 times. So you're doing 5 different military topics or 5 different sources. And then you're going to jump to community service. So community service does not have to be military. I'm just asking you to look at it in general. Googling is going to be kind of hard. It's not going to be just good service projects, because you're going to get something that's a little bit kind of all over the place. You're going to get a lot of stuff, and it's kind of general and boring, like right here. So what I did was I decided to look at things I already know about, like the Ice Bucket Challenge or 21 Push-Up. That is a military project, but I do know about it. We've done Boot 'em to the Curb, Polar Plunge. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there. I think the most helpful way to Google community service projects is to look up your local news. So I did this, and there's a ton going on right now, especially because we're in the spirit of Christmas and Thanksgiving. So when I did Channel 3, there was a couple different things that popped up that were kind of cool. So there was a sock drive. Oopsies. Sock drive right here. DeVos, Children's Hospital was doing some type of hashtag Twitter thingamajig. I'm not a big fan of Twitter, so I didn't pick that, but this thing was kind of cool. And they did a sock drive. So I'm going to read about it, and if I like it, I'm going to copy it. After I do a critical review, I'm going to paste it, and I already pasted it right here, and then I'm going to type a reflection, annotation, / paragraph thing to that resource. There's a ton of stuff on local news. Battle Creek Inquirer, we got a couple service projects going on right now. This is actually a military service project, but they're trying to do a big mural downtown on one of the old cereal factories, which is kind of cool. This was one that I did already, which was basically this woman was raising awareness about Down syndrome, and she did a whole bunch of artistic decals on her Jeep, and she drives this around, so that's a community service project. So there's a lot of stuff out there. You just got to look through it. Local news is a good way to do it, or just Google successful service projects or Michigan service projects. So when you do that, you're doing this 5 times. 5 times you're Googling and researching this. 5 times you're researching this. You should have 10 comments back and forth on this chart, and you will submit it on Google Classrooms for grading. If you have any questions, you can email me. I will be near my computer in the morning. And good luck. I really want this to become a resource that you can come back to in a few weeks when we actually start our collaborative service project idea.